We have two big topics this week that are new, e-health and digital photography. And then we're returning to some of our ethical perspectives that we've already covered. So it should be, I hope, a little bit easier week on the new stuff side. And it gives you a chance perhaps to look ahead at some of your projects coming up here in the closing weeks of the term. E-health is something that fascinates me as a patient. I don't get a chance to see the behind the scenes stuff much. Perhaps some of you are in the medical profession in one way or another. My impression is that the medical profession has adapted and adopted emerging technologies behind the scenes very quickly. Those fancy scanners, all of the digital imaging, all of those things that happen behind the scenes happened quickly and are still happening. The equipment, the cost of some of that equipment is staggering to me. And of course, medical professionals have adopted the business applications just like any other business. It's the patient forward looking things, the patient facing applications and technologies that I see, and those I see as lagging behind a lot of other industries. Why is it that the medical profession has been slow to adapt and adopt some of the emerging technologies that have been available? Well, that's an interesting question. Perhaps some of you work in that field and can help us out a little bit. I can remember taking my father-in-law to the VA hospital, and the stack of paperwork was, I'm not exaggerating, almost a foot tall. All these various file folders full of paper. The doctor came in, took one look at that pile of paper, and then turned to me with eyes as if to say, please don't make me look through all of those records. Please tell me what's going on here. And that's tricky business. We have to be able to figure out in a very quick consultation what's going on with medicines that may be in conflict with each other, with treatments that may or may not have worked as well as we'd hoped, with personal habits that the patient doesn't want to communicate perhaps to this doctor. Communication is the key in e-health, and it does not happen automatically. These interfaces are not intuitive sometimes, and the patient and the medical professional are not always on the same page with what's going on. They need help. They need communication studies people. They need people in the professions who are well versed in communication to lend a hand. That's our job. The other part is digital photography this week. I love digital photography. I can remember when we had a closet full of old cameras in my house. I wish we would have hung on to them. They'd be antiques by now. Got rid of all of them, thought they were worthless. And especially when digital cameras came out, who would ever want an old film camera, right? I take pictures with a digital camera. I might take 100 and keep one. That's a whole different set of problems on managing information for me, and it's also a different business model. Excuse me. Eastman Kodak is no more. That was one of the companies that I thought was a bedrock in American corporate culture. I never thought they'd go away. Thought they were as solid as a bank. Well, my bank has gone away too. Technology changes a lot of things. Changing the images is a feature of digital photography. When I was playing around with one of those imaging softwares, I used some of my kids in my pictures when they were little kids. As I distorted them and laughed and showed them how I could distort their pictures, my kids started to cry. They didn't want their pictures distorted. And I learned very quickly how powerful it is to be able to edit photographs. Now, that brings us to the topic of ethics. We are reprising some of our ethical resources for you. Hopefully that makes your week a little easier. You've seen these things before, and you're preparing for projects, so I'm hoping that gives you a little bit of a breather, but also gives you a chance to bring to bear ethics on e-health and photography. There's quite a few angles there that can be fascinating for us. Enjoy the week. Maybe take a few pictures. Share a picture with us. Don't hesitate. And we would see those where? On the discussion board. Go get them.